All right, another day, another helmet video. What's going on, guys? So we are going to build my brand new first ride helmet. If you guys don't know, if you haven't ever seen, you probably have. I do first ride videos, and I am changing my setup over to a Ruroc Atlas. And I know a lot of you guys probably just got Atlases because they're pretty new to the market. So this way, if you wanted to do motovlogging or something like that, you can follow this and hopefully you'll have a good setup, or at least you'll have the setup that I use, which is pretty high quality. So I'm gonna take you guys through the process as I do mine. That way maybe you guys can learn a thing or two. So hopefully you enjoy. Okay, so first off, the things we need, or you need, or I need, or whoever needs them. You're gonna need helmet, obviously. Got gaff tape, Purple Panda microphone, GoPro mounts. I'll put the links to the specific mounts that I'm using. I've got this fancy new GoPro case that you can fit this GoPro adapter into. If you guys aren't familiar, the GoPro 7 that I'm gonna be putting in this helmet, it has to have this adapter because I run a microphone into the helmet. So I'll show you guys doing all that. But this little GoPro case, you actually stick the GoPro adapter in like that, and the port is right there. So it's pretty fancy. I think you're supposed to do it like this though. Yeah, so the little power cable goes there. So this allows you to run a microphone from the inside of your helmet into your GoPro, so that way you don't have to sync audio or anything like that. We won't need JB Weld. I know a lot of you guys give me shit about JB Weld, but I'll show you why we need that. And we have this curved GoPro adapter. You're probably gonna need to use the curved one. There is a flat one, but most helmets you need the curved one. I think that's all you need. So we'll get into this thing. Oh, I forgot to mention that you can do this with any helmet, but if you have an Atlas helmet, you can specifically do exactly what we're doing. So we're not gonna need the microphone for a minute. So I got the little cheap Chinese GoPro mounts because they cost way less than what GoPro wants for their freaking sticky housings, and they work just as good. And we're also gonna be using JB Weld on this, so it's not as imperative that it's super sticky. Especially with these vents that we have up front, I imagine the JB Weld's kind of gonna press into those, and once it dries, that shiz ain't going nowhere. So as far as mounting, I always like my GoPros, especially in my first ride videos, I want those things in front of my face, so I wanna mount it something like that. And to do that, you're gonna have to get these like straight GoPro adapter pieces, but I have this long one going down, small one going over, and then the GoPro is able to sit up just like that. So if you guys are able to see, if I'll be riding down the road, I've got my head moved like that, and if I mount this thing to the front, guys can kind of see the GoPro is going to be facing forward. Should all work out. Step one, we want to mount this sticky mount as perfectly middle as we can. And if you guys notice, this thing curves, but it doesn't curve enough to touch with the helmet. So what we're going to have to do is make up some JB Weld, put the JB Weld on the side of the sticker, and then just poke it on there. That way it'll fill those little gaps that we have. Very important part. If you mess this part up, you're screwed. We want to get it as flat onto the helmet as possible. I'm gonna open up the visor so I can press onto it. If this goes wrong, I ruin the helmet. All right, so we do have JB Weld poking out. That's perfect. Perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to fill in where the JB Weld isn't with more of it. So that's our setup now. This is pretty much permanent and it is not going anywhere. Obviously it's got to dry, so we'll give it time to dry, but can you guys see the edge is the important part. Be careful, don't ruin your helmet. If you do, it's not my fault, but that's how I do it, and that's how I did my other first ride helmet, and that thing is held together for a couple years now. All right, we have our GoPro mount, which is the important part. All this other stuff can just like come and go. And there we go. Now the big test is, can the helmet sit down flat on a table? Yes. Okay, that's perfect. Not having the helmet sit down flat on a table is a pain in the ass, but we don't have that issue here. So like I said, if you guys want to do the thing I'm doing, you're gonna need to have this specific GoPro housing with a little battery pocket at the bottom. That's gonna allow it to look a lot cleaner. The unfortunate part is what doesn't get to look clean is the microphone. This microphone is called a Purple Panda. It is 30 bucks on Amazon, and it is, from my testing, by far the best microphone you can get for putting inside of a helmet. What I typically do is thread it in here right into the little cheek pad, and I have it just poking out right there. So I'm just running the helmet up. This little dead cat that actually comes with the microphone, very important, because with motorcycles there's a lot of wind and stuff like that, so you're gonna need to combat the wind. This helps do that a lot, and I just tuck this microphone in right there. Looks like the clips on the Atlas are at the bottom, so I'll just shove the microphone in on the side, make sure the cables are out along the bottom. So this is where this gaff tape comes into play. It's not the prettiest tape. I guess is there a pretty tape? But regardless, it works really well, and I've even gotten gaff tape wet before, and it still sticks. Now obviously I can't put a GoPro in here until this JB Weld hardens, so we're gonna wait on it to harden for us to do anything more with this video. All right, so this boy is still drying and it's gonna take a minute, but I wanted to show you guys my old First Ride helmet just to help illustrate how cool having this GoPro mount is. So if you notice that little battery box that allows for the audio is in the bottom, and it's all into one housing. This is how I had to do it on my last one. So it's still JB welded to the helmet with the sticky pad for GoPros and stuff, but this is the little GoPro adapter brick I had to use and have it run. Like, look how ugly this is, and like just cumbersome. And then it barely fits around, so it's like a super snug fit, like more snug than you really want. And then this, we have an audio cable that can just be tucked away and not worried about. I think this is going to be the freaking move. Another thing, we have a Sena Bluetooth. This is a 30K on here. And I have that because when we do first rides, for you guys who have never seen the first ride videos, we do follow car stuff. And my wife drives a car while I'm driving or riding the motorcycle. And we are on a phone call back and forth, so we know what's happening. So I have to have a Bluetooth device on my helmet. This helmet has no built-in Bluetooth, but for the Ruroc, I have the Shockwave here at the bottom. You guys can see like little buttons right here. So this helmet has like a little slot in the back of the helmet, and they make this little cheap Bluetooth device that you can put in the back of it, route headphones. So this helmet that looks this clean actually has a Bluetooth device in it, and it's not gonna get hung up on anything. Also, JB Weld takes forever to harden. Jesus Christ. This is taking too long. I just got off the phone with Brian, the guy that helps me out with Wreck Bike Rebuild. This stuff is supposed to take 12 to 18 hours to cure, so it looks like we'll be back. Oh, welcome to another episode of Chase's Filthy Garage. I'm Chase, and I'm your host for this. There's too much tape on this table. All right, a couple things we're gonna handle before this video starts. One, it's the next day, and this has now had 12 hours to harden, and it's hard, so we can continue. Also, my wife is sick, and I got no sleep last night, so if I look tired, it's because I am. Okay, but that is not going to stop us from finishing this video. So, you guys ended with us putting JB Weld on this front mount, moving my coffee before I get random shit in it. I do have to stress to you guys, before you do this to your helmet, make sure you are dedicated to wanting the front mount on a helmet. I'm in a very privileged situation. I have do a lot of reviews on helmets. I have a lot of helmets come through, so it's not a big deal for me to JB Weld a helmet. It should probably be a big deal for you. If you guys are like buying all these helmets for this stuff, just make sure you really want to do this stuff first before you know, do this to a helmet. If you guys have seen my other helmet tutorial videos on how to do a motovlogger helmet, you guys might have heard me talk about ND filters. Despite getting tons of questions on YouTube about, Chase, why don't you film in 4K 60 frames a second? It looks so much better. I disagree with all those people, and I will continue to disagree with them because I like the look of an ND filter on a GoPro. It gives it a lot of motion blur. I like that look and will continue to make videos like that. So in order for me to shoot 4K 24 frames a second on a GoPro, I have to have an ND filter. But this situation makes it a problem. Allow me to explain. Got a GoPro in here, but if you guys notice this front area, it actually encloses the lens of the GoPro, and the lens is what I actually put the ND filter on. So if I can't get to the lens to put the ND filter on, suddenly I can't use my ND filter. So because of that, we're gonna have to modify this GoPro housing just a little bit so I can get to the outside edge of the GoPro lens. I also have a new tool to try to do that, so God help us all, because nobody's here to hold my hand during this. So I'm basically a child with, you know, power tools. I just thought about it, and that's something that has changed from my last helmet tutorial video, is I'm actually using different ND filters now. I'll put a link to the ones I'm using down below. I've been really happy with them, and they don't do any vignetting around the screen, so I've been super impressed with them. Safety. So we're in a much better spot right now. This looks all cut up, but now we gotta see how much better the GoPro fits on with the ND filter. What's up, Brian? Nah, I'm just in the middle of making a first ride helmet video, and just so you, and we're filming right now, but just so you understand, I've got the angle grinder out and I'm trying to cut a GoPro case. So it's going, this is Brian on the phone. Things are going super well. He's laughing at me now, so there's that. I'm pretty happy with that. Wow, I am actually impressed. So now we got to do the rough fitting to make sure this all fits on here. And as a rough fitment, that is how the helmet will look. Check that out. All right, so I'm gonna go put a couple layers of black spray paint on the front of this housing. I'm gonna grab the bolts for these, and I think we're done at that point. I'm gonna call that the new first ride setup, guys. Oh, and before the final, I also got to put my ceremonial first ride decal on there. As you guys can see, my old first ride helmet has a first ride decal.
And what would be the point of a helmet video if I didn't actually show you guys what the helmet looked like? Now, from where I finished that helmet, it's been a few days. Now I'm sick, as you can probably tell. And we're on a KTM 790 adventure doing the first ride. This video will be out next week. But if you guys are curious what the video and audio sounds like out of this helmet, this is what it sounds like. Hopefully minus the whole being sick part. So yeah, if you guys follow everything I said, this is what you could expect out of this helmet. Good God, truck. But yeah, quality-wise, this is what you guys can expect out of this first ride helmet.
So if you guys are doing this for yourself and want any of the stuff I used, obviously I'm going to have as detailed links in the description as I can so you guys can get the exact same things I'm using. And that way there's no excuse for you guys to have bad audio. This stuff is not really that expensive. The helmet and the GoPro could be, but other than that, everything else is pretty cheap. If you guys have any questions about it, drop them in the comments and I'll do my absolute best to answer as many as I can. Hopefully this video helped you guys out. So let's all go out there and make some high quality motorcycle content now that you know how to do it the right way. I'm Chaseontwowheels. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Also consider subscribing to the channel because I make a ton of motorcycle content. And if you're watching this video, then I'm willing to bet you're interested in motorcycles. So drop a like and subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one. Later.
Outro crew, you're welcome for the little heads up on the first ride. See you guys on the next one. Later.